everyone, it's Wednesday, and that means it's New Comic Book Day. And we've got a couple of comic book reviews coming up for you, the first of which is going to be The Walking Dead number 144. If you're not totally caught up on The Walking Dead comics, and you want to avoid any potential spoilers, and there's some big ones in this review, you're going to want to skip this video until you're totally caught up. Okay, wow. This was an exhausting comic.
Yeah.
Only Robert Kirkman can simultaneously piss you off to the point where you're like, fuck you, Robert Kirkman, and then you go, I love you, Robert Kirkman, in the same issue.
So much happens and nothing happens at the same time. It's crazy. The comic itself probably only spans a 1 hour time period,
yeah,
if that. At the end of last comic, Alpha was showing Rick her supergiant massive herd and basically says, leave us alone or I sick this thing on you.
Yeah. And, he comes back and he's like, look, Carl, we're getting the fuck out of here and we're leaving these people alone because no.
Yeah, we're not dealing with that.
And they have this little argument and Carl's like, not without Lydia. And Lydia, I don't know, it almost seems like accidentally confesses to Rick that she's being raped regularly, which she had told Carl, but Rick wasn't privy to yet.
Yeah, and Alpha is basically that's what happens in nature. She's weak, and then decides, you know what, she's too weak for our society, take her to your little fairy tale.
Yeah. And on one hand, and her people start coming up, and she's like, no, I've got this. So on one hand, she's acknowledging that she's doing something motherly for her daughter.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she's like, you're weak, get out. So she's being simultaneously kind and cruel.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting and awesome, but also weird.
Yeah, it was really weird, because you could tell that she is allowing Lydia to go with Rick and Carl to save her from the situation she's in, but at the same time, she does it in a way that shows to her group, if you're weak, I will kick your ass out.
Yeah.
And it was really, really good how they wrote it so that you see both sides, her being a mother and her being a leader at the same time. And
her being the alpha of the group. And you can see that she's actually heartbroken about having to do this. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, Alpha is a super interesting character, but she screwed up big time.
Yeah. She tells Rick, we put up a sign, don't cross, we put a sign at the edge of our territory, don't cross it or else, let this massive herd after you.
Yeah.
And he just has a bad feeling because she came back and she had a machete dripping fresh blood, and he just knows that something bad happened.
Yeah.
And he finds the area that he left his party at, and they're not there. And so, of course, the first thing you think is, oh shit, what happened to Andrew and Michonne? And they go to the end of the territory, and there's a line of heads, and I am like, shit, no, they did not just kill Andrea and Michonne.
Right.
I was like, no,
no. Because it's very, the heads are indistinguishable because it's kind of a long distance shot, and it's just a road down this road. And I had the same feeling. I was like, oh God, there's one with long hair. Who is, oh God, is it Michonne or is it Andrea? No, they can't kill those two characters, specifically those two characters, off page.
Yeah.
Oh God. But again, you turn the page, and again, it's like...
You get a head, and then you get a little tiny story underneath it where it explains who that person was.
Yeah.
And it explains why Alpha was at Hilltop.
Yeah. And, as the reader, you turn that page, and your eyes immediately go to the heads. It doesn't go to the stories down below to explain who they are. They go to the heads. And one of them looks passingly like Michonne. And I actually had to put the comic down for a minute and go, fuck you. I was so mad for 30 seconds. And I was like, all right, well, let me just look. And I'm reading it. I'm like, okay, these are all people that I know vaguely their names, but I don't care about them.
Yeah, they're just kind of background characters. Remember reading about them at the carnival, but they're not major characters.
And then you turn the page, and your eye goes right to Rosita. And it's like, you son of a bitch, Kirkman. I thought everybody was, going to get... Everybody I cared about was going to, get out safe of this issue, and no. And then you turn the page again, and...
It's Ezekiel.
He freaking killed Ezekiel and Rosita off page.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, Kirkman, how could you? It's the same feeling I got when he killed Glenn.
Yeah. Now Ezekiel I kind of saw him coming because they've kind of made a big deal of him and Michonne's issues, and then he runs off to go find Michonne, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, they could be setting this up for bad.
Yeah. I'm figuring maybe captured or something, or have some kind of altercation with Alpha, and he dies in the confrontation.
I certainly didn't read this like, oh, Ezekiel's dying. No, it's just like there's something up with Ezekiel. Like they're focusing on that story. They're bringing it to the forefront. Anytime they do that, something bad's gonna happen. So I didn't really necessarily see him dying, but I wasn't all that surprised that he died.
Yeah.
It was a little surprising that he died off panel.
He died off panel by decapitation, and his head is mounted on a spike along the road.
Yeah, and it's like,
oh
you know
my
what?
gosh.
Had it ended before that fence of heads, the two communities would have been fine. They would have just left each other alone.
Yeah.
But you don't go into Rick's community, kill his people, and then threaten them with a massive herd and expect to just walk away from that. And this group is fucked.
And this is where Negan's coming back into play. I'm telling you right now, Rick is letting him out, and he's like, you're helping me massacre all these people.
Yeah.
Negan's coming back into play real soon. I'm upset. Absolutely amazing comic. Only Kirkman can make you feel like this in a comic book. Absolutely outstanding job. I'm super duper pissed. But at the same time, it's like, this is what you expect from The Walking Dead.
Yeah, this is exciting. This is what The Walking Dead is. This is why you read the comic, is because shit like this happens.
And it's been building toward that, basically 3 pages for the last 8 issues. Alright, so we are dying to know what you guys thought of issue 144 of The Walking Dead, because holy crap!
Yeah. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And on Fridays we do a topic of the week video, and we have the next couple of weeks covered, but we always need topics for those, so if you have any suggestions, put those in the comments down below as well. Please.
Okay, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.